Morning everybody. Today's topic, we're going to talk about reviewing angle grinders and why I think some of the ones I chose are the best ones. And we'll take a close look at abrasive wheels and why I use the ones that I do. I'm going to tear this down, I'll throw them up. Let's go ahead and get started. Okay, I threw up 3 of my favorites, or the ones that I like probably out of all of them. And what's the reason why? Not just because they're name brand, not just because it's Dewalt, Bosch, or Milwaukee. These are 11 amp angle grinders. If you're going to get one, spend the extra 20 bucks or whatever it is and buy an 11 amp one. These are far more powerful. You're going to be a lot happier with it. They all operate almost the same. The triggers might be a little bit different. You can read the reviews. There's always going to be good and bad reviews on all of these, or somebody that didn't like something or had bad luck with something. But there are a lot of others out there that are equally as good. These are the ones that I'm more familiar with in what I do. And I also use a Makita. Anyway, there's nothing wrong with the Makita. I just forgot to throw up a picture of it. It's 10.5 amp. The rest of them will say 11 or 10.5 also, but you want the more powerful one is the point here. Okay, let's move on to the questions and we can rapidly give you hopefully some tips and tricks. What do I prefer using? You've got those abrasive grinding wheels, and you'll see it over on probably if you take a look at one of these. I'm trying to figure out. It could be the Milwaukee. They're like the abrasive wheel. They're not the flap wheel. They're the abrasive wheel. So here's a little tip for you. When you're using it, they get loaded up with stuff. Loosen up the lock nut, turn the wheel, retighten it, keep using it again, and it will get rid of a lot of that on there, because what you did is you set it off balance, and so when you do, it wants to rebalance when you're grinding, and it will get rid of a lot of the debris and stuff that's set into it. So that's a quick tip. They're not my favorite way to grind down welds. My more favorite way, which is becoming more and more what I do, is to use the flap deals, like the flap wheels, 40 grit, 60 grit, 80 grit. Those are the most common ones that I use. You can go all the way up to 120 and even go higher if you want to really start polishing it. But those are the most common ones. Those are the ones that I use. Let me tear down these pictures. Let me throw up some of the ones that I use, and I'll give you an explanation. Give me one moment. Okay, so we're all familiar with Harbor Freight. And so do I use those cutoff wheels and abrasive discs? Yes, at times. Not all the time. And I'll explain why. I'm an Amazon Prime member, and I buy better quality cutoff discs and abrasive wheels when I do other shopping and I do other placement of orders. So these are the ones from out at Harbor Freight. There's nothing wrong with these cutoff wheels, I think. Okay, it's my opinion. Everybody makes fun of Harbor Freight, but these cutoff wheels work fine, and you can buy them like it says here in the 10 packs or whatever they sell them in. And now they're coming out with new lines of product. One of them happens to be Hercules. These are the 4.5 inch 40 grit cutoff wheels. There's nothing wrong with these. They actually last longer than the ones above. It just depends on how much you're using them and what type of material you're cutting through. But there's nothing wrong with either one in this Hercules brand. It tends to be better in terms of longevity and using them. Okay, what do I use a lot? I'll tear them down and I'll show you. Give me just a sec here. Okay, so when I'm out at the big box store, or even, if I'm buying off Amazon, there's nothing wrong with these Dewalt wheels. Dewalt makes good abrasive grinding wheels and cutoff discs. There's nothing wrong with them. You're going to pay more money, but the quality's better than the ones at Harbor Freight. They're going to last you a lot longer. What I'm starting to favor more and more are the Cubitrons. I mean, both abrasive and in, flap discs. These have better cutting ability, cutting edges on them. They last a lot longer than the other cutting and the other abrasive wheels that I use. So I'm starting to favor this brand. It's made by 3M. You can buy them on Amazon. But these are the ones that I use and the ones that I'm kind of switching over to. It depends on if I'm out at big box and I need them right now, or am I placing an order, in which case I'll probably go with the Cubitron because they're not sold at the bid box, or at least I haven't seen them there. Okay, the question is, which one of the wheels do I favor? Well, like I said, I favor the flap wheels, but, over the abrasive grinding wheels. But here's the thing. If you're going to use the 40 grit, or, even the 60, you want to be careful, take your time with what you're doing, because you can over grind your welds. I mean, and then they're going to get micro cracks and issues. Where do you find these grinders? Well, a lot of times you're not going to find them in the big box. You can order them, from Home Depot and Lowe's online. There's a lot of stuff you can order online that they don't carry in the store. Your other option is to go to Amazon, eBay, and Craigslist, and if you want to buy a used one or look around for a used one. These 11 amp ones, they're kind of hard to come by. I guess because they work so well, people hang on to them. I don't see that many of them out there. Now, there's nothing wrong with the lower end angle grinders, but look, I mean, if you're going to go out and buy one new, why don't you just spend a few more dollars? I mean, you can take a look at pricing. The prices between the Makita, the Bosch, the Dewalt, and the Milwaukee, they're all over the place. They're different. But, I mean, I would always opt to go with the 11 amp. I mean, that's just my opinion. It's a much stronger one. There's nothing wrong with the other ones. I have less powerful ones, and I do use them, and they do work. It's just nice to have that additional power, behind what you're doing. Well, there's not a lot to the care of them. I mean, things coming out nowadays are coming out brushless. I mean, but what do I do? It depends on what I'm grinding, what I'm doing. I take my air gun, and I blow out the ports and everything when I'm done, and I don't know. There's not a lot of maintenance to them. I've never had to replace the brushes or anything on mine, so somebody else can comment on that. I mean, but I think they're pretty much maintenance free, really. No, it doesn't matter. The question is, how much do I bear down when I'm grinding welds? I don't. I let the cutting disc do its job, the flap discs. I mean, if you bear down on it, you're going to burn through these discs fast. They'll dull out on you, and pretty soon, I mean, they're working, but they're not working so good because you put too much pressure and you dulled out and you ruin the grinding surface. I mean, if you just put it down lightly and start to move it around, it's just going to take a few minutes longer. I mean, it's not that big of a deal. That flap disc or grinding disc is going to last you a lot longer. But remember the trick. You can always loosen the lock nut, rotate it a little bit and relock it. And like I said, offsetting it, it'll create like a new grinding, pattern on the abrasive wheels. I don't do that on the flap disc. You don't need to. Okay, home handyman, this wasn't meant to be a long video, just to give you a couple of quick tips and give you a quick review on some things. Those are my favorites. There's other ones out there I'm sure just equally as good. I'm not cutting the other ones down. I'm just telling you what I've had the best luck with. Hey, I hope to see you on the next video, and click subscribe. Thank you very much. Bye-bye.